I'm about to say a sentence I never thought I'd say. I never thought I was about to say these words. So go ahead and mark the date. Today's Wednesday, June 25th. It's about 2 p.m. I'm about to say it. Ready? I'm jealous of New Yorkers. I never thought I'd say that. I never thought that I would be jealous of people living in New York City. But here I am, sitting down here in Pennsylvania, jealous as hell, because New Yorkers last night did the impossible. They did a thing that nobody thought possible 8 months ago. They did a thing that nobody thought possible last week. They did a thing that betting markets didn't think was possible 3 days ago. New Yorkers, specifically New York Democrats, went to the polls and they nominated Zohran Mamdani as the next Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City. Nobody thought. There were people that hoped. There were people that dreamed. But when it came to the rational brain, we couldn't believe it. Why? Because consultants told us it wasn't possible. Why? Because the media told us it wasn't possible. Why? Because analysts told us it wasn't possible. And what happened? He kept going. Zohran, for 8 months, has pounded pavement. He has shaken hands. He has taken interviews. And he has met people where they are. And what is his message? That he was just like them with the exact same concerns. That our lives have become unaffordable. That things are running away from us. The rent is too damn high. Do y'all know that meme? The rent is too damn high. Years ago, a man ran for the mayor of New York, and that was his entire platform. And that is the winning platform that defeated Andrew Cuomo. Well, a lot of people, they don't understand how a 33-year-old Muslim Democratic socialist defeating Andrew Cuomo is one of the craziest fucking things to happen in recent history, in Democratic politics especially. Because the Democratic Party and consultants believe in order. They believe that when there's somebody who's been around long enough, you gotta give them their shot. It's not the right thing to do to not give them their shot. Sure. He's 67 years old. He's been accused by 13 different women of sexual harassment, and most of the Democratic Party in New York demanded that he resign as governor, and he did, leaving them in the grasp and clutches of Kathy Hochul. But he wants to try again. We got to give him his shot. And what a shot you gave Andrew Cuomo, Democratic establishment. What a campaign platform you built for Andrew Cuomo. Consultants don't care. They got paid. They got $200,000 apiece or more for 3.5 months of work. Zoom calls, maybe a coffee, a little light dinner and a meet and greet. And they got paid more money than any average New Yorker or whatever see. And that's why Andrew Cuomo lost. Because he reached out to an electorate who has never fucking seen him in their neighborhood. Oh, I went to Bed-Stuy. I went to Brooklyn. I hung around Manhattan high-rises. Zohran met people where they were. I've been listening since November. We all have. To every single member of the Democratic Party scream, where's our Joe Rogan? Where's our Joe Rogan? How do we reach these guys? Where's our Joe Rogan? And when you start to see, and they finally saw a candidate starting to reach young men. They finally started to see a candidate reach across ethnic divides. They started to see a candidate that was touching bases across economic gulfs. What happened? You saw more and more of the Democratic establishment at the last minute get told by consultants that they need to step up and they need to protect Andrew Cuomo. And now what have we all seen? We've seen the truth, the real truth, and nothing but the truth, that the endorsement of Bill Clinton and Jim Clyburn is worth less than the endorsement of Stavros and Nick from Cumtown. That's right. Cumtown is stronger than the 90s president. The endorsement of AOC is stronger than the endorsement of Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. The endorsement of Gaydar with Ananiah is stronger than the concerns of the New York Times. The world is shifting. We are surrounded by corporate leeches and parasites who have been trying to divide all of us and tell us that there is not a future, that it has to be this expensive, that we have to give concessions to old men and rapists and others over and fucking over again because they're the only ones that can stop the evil Republicans. They're the only ones that can stop Republicans like Mike Bloomberg, who was completely backing the Andrew Cuomo for mayor campaign. Landlords who have told us that they had to raise the rent. They just had to raise the rent. Suddenly could come up with millions of dollars for the Andrew Cuomo campaign. Suddenly, media groups came pouring out of everywhere. In the last second, what would happen? What would happen if Zohran wins? People would feel joy and hope. That's what the fuck happened. That's what you're seeing pour across this entire nation. And what you are beginning to see, and what I hope we will all see, is more and more people realizing that the possibilities are possible. That no dream is impossible anymore. That with whatever you want to try it. Because let's look at some Republican dreams right now. They want masked men to grab people off the streets. Who stood up against them? Andrew Cuomo didn't want to give a statement on that. I've noticed a lot of our other governors, they'll add their names here and there to a letter. But they sure are quiet because they don't want the eye of Stephen Miller to turn onto their state. They don't want suddenly to be stuck in a whirlwind. No. But what happened when Tom Homan, the czar of all of these kidnappings, when he went to New York State, who stood up against him? Zohran Mamdani. He stood there in the halls of the New York Assembly screaming at that bald Nazi fuck, while other candidates and current mayors kowtowed and bent the knee. Consultants are constantly telling Democrats over and over and over again to not take controversial opinions. And what is a controversial opinion? That trans people are human beings? That everyone has the right to live? That we should be able to afford our lives on one fucking job? That health care, that child care, that home care for our seniors and our parents should be part of our infrastructure, that public transportation should be given the same amount of dollars as roads are being driven by private cars, that we should see the same funding levels for peace in our streets as we do for wars in our sea and our air, and now inside of our own cities. These are all things that consultants are constantly telling Democrats especially to not even comment on. People like James Carville. I made a video about him months ago. James Carville said at the beginning of the Trump administration for Democrats to roll over, play dead, and wait for him to punch himself out. He nearly took us to fucking World War III. They are currently kidnapping people across the United States. There are women who are being forced after being declared brain dead to be used as fetal incubators against the will of their families. Because why? Because Democrats listened to fucking McKinsey consultants in the past. And they decide to not take a controversial opinion. They decide to not explain to people their fucking stance on anything. They decided to not go where the voters and the listeners and the viewers are. Instead, they talk to safe newspapers. They talk to safe radio shows. They talk to all these other things. Meanwhile, every single day, Republicans are poured into the AirPods of the average worker as they stock shelves at Target, as they drive Amazon vans, as they work a construction job, and they listen to guys who are telling them over and over again that unions are trying to rip you off, that actually it's the trans people are the problem, that actually if we got rid of all these immigrants, suddenly your rent would go down. And who's bringing them that message? Billionaires who are funding all these fucking podcasts. Billionaires who are standing in the background, who pay the same consultants to tell Democrats to not stand up on these fucking issues. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, you're both cowards. You're both fucking feckless cowards. Chuck Schumer, you are insulted on a daily basis by this president. You were handed golden opportunities again and again for the last 6 months to take a strong, viable stand against him. And instead, what did you do? You tried to roll out a fucking book deal. You wanted to go on a book tour and talk about anti-Semitism. And instead, you didn't do that. You hid from the voters because you were worried that they would show up and they'd protest your book and you'd have to hear those common people tell you what they thought of you. Hakeem Jeffries, you're going to do an investigation, buddy? You're going to write a strong note? You're going to awkwardly stare at a camera for too fucking long while you do a millennial pause that's so fucking just intense that everybody wonders if this is fucking AI. John Fetterman, fuck you! John Fettermaga has turned his back on every single person that's ever brought him to the fucking dance. And that's the reason why he wears a white hoodie today. John Fetterman wears a white hoodie right now because he doesn't do real work. He's not worried about getting his white hoodie dirty because he knows there's enough distance between an actual job that he will ever have to do and the blood of all the innocents that he keeps fucking paying for. Right now, the Democratic leadership of the future is being chosen, and it is not being chosen by members of the United States House. It is not being chosen by members of the United States Senate. It is not being chosen by consultants. It's not being chosen by landlords. It's being chosen by people with real jobs. People who have had to work an hourly wage. People who have to look at how much is being ripped out of their fucking paycheck every month. People who have to make sure there's enough money in their bank account so that way the auto withdrawal doesn't bounce and then they get hit by a bank fee. People who don't have all the fucking time in the world to wait for another series of feckless promises from feckless, impotent old men who want to play grab ass and then go, oh, I'm just Italian, Andrew Cuomo. And meanwhile, people like Chris Cuomo going to run around in the background. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I loved coming on News Nation that one time for you guys to ask me if I was worried about TikTok going away. That was great. The fucking interview of the century over there. The answer then as in now is no. You don't want to know why? Our government's corrupt. And the good people at TikTok will just keep bribing the right fucking people. And right now, you know how you bribe people? Through the fight coin and other crypto. Another thing that the fucking Democrats rolled over on. Impeachment. Another thing that the Democrats rolled over on. Not all of them. It's not the entire party. And that's why I had joy. That's why I had problems sleeping the other night. Because the impossible happened. A dynasty lost, defeated by hard work and integrity and a plan and commitment, not luck. Zohran Mamdani did not win through luck. He won through volunteers and strategy and alliances. You know, like the fucking show Survivor. He put it together. That's right. I've been too intense, okay? Let's remember where this video started. The very beginning, it was me being mad because I had to be envious and happy of New Yorkers. So to close out this video, I just want to say go Birds, and let's hear for them fighting Phils, all right? Because I'm a Philly guy at the end of the day, and I'll be damned if the only hope I feel is for a Mets fan, okay? That's the only thing I find offensive about Zohran Mamdani. It's that he's a Mets fan, okay? Charlie Kirk, you can't convince me that this man is evil. I really like him, except for the fact he's a Mets fan. So with that, if you want to see more videos like this, please give us a like, subscribe, give me a comment down below. I'm trying to make more videos. I've been investing in more equipment for our podcast, Too Many Tabs, which I release here every Sunday at noon on YouTube and across all the other platforms where you can listen to podcasts, or you can find me on all of other social media. Pearlmania 500, where I'm probably cursing out some old boomer who thinks millennials are still 19 years old or some shit. Anyway, talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.